my name is Reina, and this is Chow and Tell. I'm really excited about today's episode. It showed me how many things get linked together. Today's episode actually was inspired by an episode I did a few episodes ago, which I had the good fortune to be in Switzerland visiting my family, my mom, and my sister, who has also become a new mother. And I was visiting and also recording an episode with them, particularly talking about the things that my sister did during her pregnancy and after her child was born, as far as food and nutrition went. My mom shared with us a lot of really interesting old traditional recipes, medicinal recipes, and traditional cures using food, herbs, and spices. I would help my sister for before and after the birth. And one of the spices that is used very, very commonly in traditional Indian cooking and as well as in traditional Indian medicine is fenugreek, also known as methi. And I'm linking that episode to today's because I had the good fortune of meeting someone who has an extreme passion for methi and uses it a lot in cooking. It's a very, well, we'll talk about the herb in a bit, but it's a very interesting herb, and it doesn't appeal to everyone right away, but it has a whole slew of really useful properties as far as medicine and healing goes, as well as the taste. So please welcome, without further ado, my guest today to the show, Methi Man. Methi Man, welcome to the show.
Hello, how are you?
Hi.
Thank you for having me on.
Oh, you're very welcome, and it's good to have you.
Thank you. Can we just cut to the chase? You know, you have this familiar look about you, and I say familiar because my wife is pregnant.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, first child on the way, about another 3.5 months down, and the rest to go. And,
well, congratulations.
And you have that look about you too, that glow of pregnancy. Can I just out you here on Cambridge Community TV and just flat out ask you, are you expecting a child perhaps?
I didn't realize the episode would go this way. Am I under, oath of?
No, but it's not good to lie on TV because it's on the public record and everyone knows everything. I mean, if you don't want to answer, I'm sorry, but you're kind of on the spot now, and so you have to.
I suppose there's, I have a little bit of a hidden agenda with the Methi, which is why I was interested in getting you on the show. And that's the long answer to your very easy question is yes.
I knew it.
I am.
Yeah, you had that look about you, and I mean your face, it's not like looking at your belly or anything. You can tell when someone's pregnant.
You're
even
very
before.
intuitive.
Yeah. Well, I see it
Man.
at home because my wife's pregnant, so
Oh well, she must train you very well.
Yeah. My friend Bread Boy's wife is pregnant too. In fact,
oh my goodness.
I told him a few days ago, I met him, I was like, hey, Bread Boy, my wife's pregnant, our time having fun together as married but yet somewhat single guys is over.
Uh-oh.
And he said, well, it's good timing because my wife's pregnant too. And turns out they're both along about as much.
Well, what do you know? So that's 3 of us then. I will admit on public television that I am expecting a child in about 6 months.
Great, congratulations.
I'm so embarrassed.
Is your first child or your first child?
It is my first child.
Boy or girl? Do you know?
We don't know yet. We've
know?
decided not to find out.
That's
There's so
great.
few things in life that are a surprise.
Yeah.
Especially with modern technology, we can find out so many things.
Mm-hmm.
So many of them are useful and good things, but this one thing which has no impact really on anything, even the color of the room, because I would, if I had my way, it'd probably be fluorescent yellow or something. But so we decided to leave that to nature and let that be a surprise.
That's great. That's exactly what my wife and I are doing. We don't want to know. I don't want to read it on a form or in some email from the doctor.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know, catch the kid coming out and it's all this, mess with all kinds of things and
you get to find out
pulp and whatnot, whatever else is in there. And then you look and you see and you're like, oh, it's a boy, it's a girl.
Well, that's very exciting. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I hope I get to meet your wife someday. But I know I got in touch with Methi Man because of Bread Boy, which is again going back to a previous episode. I had another guest on who was really into making bread. And I'm not sure if he also liked methi the same way. I don't remember if we talked about it, but let's talk about it now. Especially given now that you've outed me on TV, methi is actually going to start playing a much bigger role in my life, and I'm very lucky I got that all of that information from my mom and my sister, as far as the health benefits of fenugreek. And now, as I understand it, fenugreek has been something you've loved for a very long time, and it may be taking increased prominence in your life as well as your wife's pregnancy comes along.
Yeah, absolutely. Methi comes in a box like this, bright fluorescent yellow, like the walls of your kid's room. And it's a beautiful thing, It's not very common in the West. Hopefully, as people get more into natural foods and natural cures. We'll just take some out here.
Let's take some out. So
it looks, like any dried green herb would.
If I can show some of that on the camera. Here. Oh, it has a really strong smell. I mean, I'm familiar with this smell, but this particular kind, and here, let me just swap to the camera and see if you can see this here. So it looks like, as you say, many other kinds of dried herbs, sort of shriveled up leaves. But if you can smell it, it's a really pungent aroma, almost bitter.
It is bitter.
It's got a very herbaceous, vegetal, bitter aroma about it. And it is, I believe, it falls in the bitter herb category.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's kind of unusual for people to like it, especially people who aren't accustomed to it. But I understand that you've always been a fan of this.
I always love methi. There are these traditional Indian recipes, methi aloo being one, which is fenugreek and potatoes. And I take methi, I put it in omelets.
Ooh.
Because eggs in the morning sometimes, just plain scrambled eggs with a little bit of methi thrown in, livens it up. In fact, my friend Bread Boy, you were mentioning before, he puts methi in bread. And it gives it such a unique taste. Methi, a little chili powder, maybe some turmeric. It is delicious, and it's good for you. It's a blood purifier.
That's what I've heard. It's a blood, this one, it's really, really good for the system. Overall, a systemic cleanser.
So especially for pregnant women, the lactation around the corner.
And it's good for lactation. This is what I realized from my mom and my sister. And my sister has been regimented to take, she has to drink a cup full of methi water every day. But it's not made from this. So there's actually a couple kinds of methi. Now this is a kind, I believe, you're from the north of India.
Yeah, from Punjab.
So I think this might be more traditional to the north, and it's called kasuri methi. I'll swap to the camera again and show you the name of it. This is one particular brand, but there are others. If I can zoom out here and show you here.
And if you're here in Cambridge, Central Square, any Indian grocery store, you can get this. It's dried.
So this is dried.
So it doesn't go bad. You just keep it.
That's a really good benefit. I mean, because, to use this much all at once would be kind of a lot.
Just a little pinch, just a tablespoon of methi in a 3-egg omelet will give it a great
goes
flavor.
A long way.
Don't use it like it's spinach.
Like
that
a
would be
spoonful of sugar.
Spoonful of sugar.
Well, it's a spoonful of methi is the medicine that goes down. This is one kind, and I think maybe I have somewhere here. Oh, we have the seeds here. Actually, this is the stuff that my sister and perhaps soon myself will need to be having. The water from these seeds, these are methi seeds actually, you can see them. They're kind of square, rectangular shaped flat seeds, and they don't smell as strongly as the dried one. See if you can smell much in that.
No, not much at all.
But I know you can soak them in water, they swell up, and then just drinking the water, the extract from that, a cold water extract, is really supposed to be good for during pregnancy and after. So I will be updating you on the efficacy of this as I go along. And then there is a third kind. There's actually the fresh methi, which if you were to sprout these, which if you have a sprouter at home, I'm sure you can try doing that. I know people who do.
Yeah.
It takes a little while. It takes some care and some time. Perhaps over 5 or 7 days, you get like micro sprouts, microgreens, and then they get sort of a flat, oval-shaped leaf.
Okay.
And actually, in my community, we're Gujarati by tradition, and we tend to use the fresh methi the most, and we put them in breads very often, but flat breads like chapatis and rotis.
So like a tortilla.
Yeah, like so mixed into the tortillas,
Yeah.
or in vegetable preparations and vegetable dishes. But generally, it tends to be the fresh methi. I haven't seen this is called kasuri methi, the dried one. But I find it's really convenient, and I would totally stock up on some of that rather than the fresh one, which you have to use right away.
And this is the dry one. You don't want to eat by itself dry.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to sprinkle it on a salad or something.
Would
But
it be
the
too
way
much?
it works, it's got twigs and it's a little too earthy for me.
It's a
Maybe
little
there
too
are people
earthy.
who could eat that. I couldn't.
I mean, it
But
is
what
kind
I
of
do
the
with it-
texture of it.
Yeah, I mean
Okay.
it's like eating a dried up leaf. You know. You
Yeah, it's
pick
like a
any
dried up
and eat
leaf.
it. Yeah,
It's a little bit,
yeah. So what I do with it, or
but it's
an
kind
idea.
of tasty.
Yeah, it is. It has this
It's bitter.
really unique
It is
bitter
bitter.
taste.
Yeah.
So it's maybe is not for everyone.
Yeah.
But for people who like bitter chocolate, for example, they should
Maybe.
try this. You know.
But,
If you
you were
like that
saying, like, you-
70% cacao. That's
Yeah.
the way to go.
I wonder how this would taste with chocolate.
That's a great idea.
I don't know. I've never thought about
Yeah.
sweet methi, but
Yeah.
might be
With
something to experiment
dark chocolate,
with.
it would be
Yeah.
quite nice.
We've got to find some chocolate guy
Yeah. We'll
to do
find one.
methi chocolate.
This is Cambridge. We have everyone here.
So,
But yeah, the way I use it mostly is, with potatoes, like home fries that you would get in a diner. When you're making those,
Yeah.
just take a couple of tablespoons of this,
Yeah.
soak it in some water, maybe
Yeah.
throw in a pinch of salt,
Yeah.
and let it soak for just a couple of minutes. 3-4 minutes is fine. Just
Yeah.
swish it around with a spoon if you don't
Separately?
have patience.
Or-
Separately.
Okay.
Then pour the water out as much as you can,
Okay.
and pat this dry. It doesn't
Oh,
need to be
alright.
completely dried,
Yeah.
but that kind of
It
reconstitutes
reconstitutes
it,
it. Okay. So
And
you wouldn't
then-
sprinkle it straight in
in a salad or something.
but
I
like when you
mean,
make your eggs, do you?
When I make the eggs, I actually do put it straight in because
Okay.
there's already moisture,
Some moisture
there
in
to
the pan.
reconstitute it.
Okay.
But if I
So
were
it doesn't need a
making-
long soaking time, like
No.
like dried mushrooms need a good,
Yeah.
10, 15 minutes sometimes.
Yeah, no, this
in boiling water.
just enough to moisten
to
it
moisten
up a bit.
Okay.
And then, in mashed potatoes, for example, you want a
Ooh,
little
that could be
twist for
good.
Thanksgiving. It's 3 months away, but
Hey,
You
that's a
start
really
thinking
good
about-
idea. I hadn't
Yeah.
thought about that.
mashed
could be good.
potatoes, home fries. Goes great with any kind of eggs, omelets or scrambled eggs. Even on maybe a fried egg, just a little
Oh, on top.
sprinkling of it.
Yeah, I
might
mean,
be
I've seen,
nice.
Asian style have scallions and black sesame on.
Yeah,
So instead of that, you could have maybe some chili powder and sprinkle methi on.
yeah. I think pretty much anywhere you would use dried herbs like oregano.
Yeah.
You could use this instead, and or as well as, and,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
try it out.
And you're getting the good health benefits as well,
Mhm.
which is a big plus,
Yeah.
And I know for the seeds, they aren't used as commonly or as much directly as seeds, but they are very often put into spice blends.
Yeah.
So by themselves, not so much, but in certain vegetable preparations, you would use the seeds, or in certain lentil and dal preparations.
Okay.
There might be a small amount of tempering with the methi seeds, but they're so strong that we tend not to just throw the seeds in directly like you would throw cumin seeds or mustard seeds in. These are much stronger in taste, so we
Yeah.
don't use them as much directly. But yeah, ground up or in small quantities in oil, tempered oil,
Yeah.
are the seeds. So yeah, that's actually some really good ideas for using methi and getting that into your everyday meals. There's a lot of different options. I think there's what other ways? I guess maybe even in curries or in stews.
In curries, it's
it could
great.
go
Yeah,
in.
if you make like a coconut fish curry, which is pretty
Ooh,
simple to make.
Yeah,
Coconut milk, and it's
Yeah.
easy.
yeah.
It's easy enough, in fact, for a weekday dinner. Even if
Yeah.
you have maybe 25 minutes,
Mhm.
that's all it takes. And you start the rice and then you start making the coconut curry,
Yeah.
which coconut milk,
Yeah.
a few spices.
We should have dinner together.
Yeah, that sounds
Should
good.
It
Yeah.
sounds good. My mouth is watering now thinking about all
Yeah,
of this.
hey, once all these kids pop out all over the place, we're not going to be going out much for fun, so we can sit at home.
Hey,
and
we'll have a
dinner.
Methi collective at home. We can sit there
Sounds good.
drinking our Methi water, cooking our Methi food,
Yeah,
and changing dirty diapers.
and lactating in the most pure way possible.
Well, that's exciting. How's your wife doing with the pregnancy? Are you feeding her
She's
lots of
doing well.
Methi?
Yeah, we have Methi a couple of times a week,
Yeah.
and you don't want to go overboard on it.
Sure,
It's,
sure.
She's pregnant and she has her cravings and
Yeah.
whatnot, and
Yeah.
those have to be entertained.
Very important.
Yes.
I mean, for me, it's been almost non-existent. There's been very, very little
Oh yeah.
in terms of sickness or.
Oh, that's great.
Touch wood. I don't know what
Yeah.
this is, but touch it anyways. Been very lucky as far as first trimester symptoms go.
Yeah, that's great.
Um,
Yeah, my wife and I weren't planning this. It just kind of happened, and we were like 6 weeks, 7 weeks along before we even knew.
Oh well.
So
Good times. Good times.
yeah, but that's good because it takes out half of that first trimester. So there's
Yeah.
only half
Let
the
go.
opportunity for morning sickness.
There you go.
So
If you don't
it's
know.
worked well. It's
You
worked
know,
well.
that's
yeah.
great. Well, I'm glad. I mean, she has Methi Man on her side to
Yeah.
cook up this and other. If it's not Methi, I mean, I'm sure. Actually, if you go back and watch the episode I did with my mom and my sister in
Mhm.
Switzerland, there's several other things on there that you might find useful,
Yeah,
or she might find useful.
Yeah.
During or after the birth.
yeah.
Um,
I've actually met your mom. I don't know if you know this, but I grew up in Bombay, and I believe you're from
I
Bombay.
am.
And your mom used to sometimes go to my school, as a parent kind of thing.
Yeah.
Parents do that kind of thing. And I met her there one day at my school. And I don't know what she was doing there, but we should ask her
We should.
one day why she was there.
It's a really small world. This is a
Yeah,
little
I
bit
mean,
strange.
It's a city of 20 million people, but you'd think that
Really
everyone knows
not.
everyone. You can't do anything bad if you're in Bombay because it will get back to your
It
parents.
will get back to your
Yeah,
parents.
and you don't want that.
Well, I
You
hope
don't wanna get in
I
trouble.
hope nothing bad went back to my mom.
No, it was fine.
That's
We were all
funny.
well behaved.
What
and there
a
were no
small
problems.
world.
Yeah.
Well, this must be the bread boy connection too, because then that's
Yeah.
how I know you. But
Yeah. He's from Bombay too.
I know that's
Yeah.
why this whole thing has been going around in circles, and everyone
Yeah.
seems to be, from Bombay seems to love to cook.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a funny connection there. I don't
It's
know
as if
what
there
it
are no
is.
restaurants there,
Yeah.
to go.
Although
There are
There
great
are many.
restaurants. You go eat.
We both
the
said
street
that at the
food.
same time,
The
really
street
great
food in
street
Bombay
food.
is great.
Definitely.
Let me give a shout out to my friends in Inman Square, Punjabi Dhaba.
Yes.
One of the best Indian restaurants in the Boston, Cambridge area.
They do a very good.
Yeah.
I've discovered a very good aloo paratha there.
Ooh, that's
It's really
delicious.
good. I used to get their big plates with the rice and the curry and the thing, and it just became too much. They were just
Yeah.
too big for me, and I wanted something smaller. And I'm now trying more of their snack food and their short order stuff.
Yeah.
The next thing on my list is the keema roti.
Ooh,
They
that
have
sounds
keema
good.
roti, which is
Yeah.
mincemeat stuffed bread, and it's
Oh.
served with a yogurt sauce,
Yeah.
dipping sauce on the side. Speaking of food, we have some to try. I believe you brought me something with methi,
Yes, I
which
did.
is very exciting.
Here
what
we
do
have an
here?
omelette
All right.
with methi. It's just cut up.
So I've never had
Um,
methi really in omelets before.
Grab a
let's,
spoon or
yeah,
a fork
yeah,
and
give you a
try it
fork
out.
if you want to have some, and let me
Sure.
just show it on the camera too,
Yeah.
and show people. So this is you've just sprinkled the methi inside the omelette. So this is just a regular egg omelette,
Yeah.
and then just I guess like you would put parsley or oregano.
Just like you
or
would add
basil
salt or
inside.
pepper.
Yeah, you just sprinkle that in. Cool, and I can smell it. I mean, it's really quite fragrant.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go dig in.
Absolutely.
Luckily, the smell of eggs doesn't make me nauseous because this is quite pungent. Mmm.
How's that?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, you get that bitter taste.
Mm-hmm.
That goes well with eggs, right?
It does.
The bitter taste. It's a delicious.
And all the
thing.
crunchiness of the dry methi is
Mhm.
gone. It's
Yeah.
totally
Yeah.
It's not twiggy or leafy or anything.
Yeah, I would suggest, people at home, when you buy this stuff, it's going to have twigs in it. Take them out. They're not delicious.
That is, though, very delicious and really easy to do. It's just a simple omelette.
Yeah.
Nothing else. There's no cheese or no
Nothing to
other herbs or anything.
Yeah.
Just the methi. And it's such a pronounced flavor.
Yeah.
We have another
You
piece.
mentioned
It's
aloo
good.
paratha. That's another thing you can put methi in.
Methi paratha. So that's more the way
Yeah.
that we've used it, but we usually use the fresh one. But
Mhm.
I would definitely now, I'm inspired to try it with this kind of methi,
Yeah.
with the dried methi, because it's just so much easier to keep on hand.
Yeah, when I'm in the motherland, fresh methi is common.
It's easier.
Here
Yeah.
it's difficult to get. And this stuff, it lasts forever. I've had methi. I go through little binges of methi myself. And,
Yeah.
I'll go.
You don't have a met habit, you have a methi
I
habit.
have a methi habit. The good thing is it doesn't rot your teeth. It purifies your blood.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good stuff. And this is, it's pretty inexpensive. I'll give you a napkin because we're so
Thank
proper
you.
here.
Yes.
If you could see the bottom here, it's like we've got spoons and forks and bowls.
It's like a full placemat laid out.
Placemat laid out. In fact, I was actually inspired to try a dish, and I don't know how it's turned out, quite frankly, but you can tell me. And I've called it, not called it, it's called Mattar, Methi Mattar,
Oh, okay.
which is peas with methi. And typically it's made in, I believe it's made in a cream sauce. There's like a cream sauce and methi, but I wanted to try a non-dairy version of it. So I'll show you what I got here. It's kind of moved in transit, but there's the peas. And
Those
I put
onions in there?
Yeah, so instead of the cream, I just thought I'd try getting that sweetness and the creaminess from pearl onions.
Oh, okay.
So it's an experiment, but you're
Yeah.
welcome to dig in.
Yeah,
And then I've
let's
just,
see.
so it's just peas and the pearl onions and then some of the dried methi, and a bit of water and some chili, a little bit of salt. How's
It's
that?
delicious.
Is it good?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah, I definitely
methi,
taste the chili in
can you
there.
taste the chili in
Yeah.
there? I don't know if I put too much.
No, I love spicy stuff.
Oh, good.
Yeah. You generally cook spicy food at home? Or?
My husband eats a lot of spicy
Yeah.
food, so
God bless him.
you guys would get along very well.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You know?
You can have I'll meet your wife.
Yeah,
You can meet my husband.
it sounds great.
You know.
Yeah, when I moved to the U.S. in the early 90s,
Yeah.
most restaurants didn't even have hot sauce.
That's
And
changed so
Now,
much.
2014, I love it, and I think it's part of the changing demographic of the country.
Sure.
It's a browner country, let's say. And the brown is of brown of all
Multicolored,
kinds,
yeah, yeah.
And that has brought hot sauce so much more into the mainstream.
For sure.
In fact, now I'll go to restaurants and I'll ask for hot sauce, which I always do. It's like they'll say, all we have is Tabasco.
Oh.
And that makes me so happy because it used to be that they didn't even have Tabasco.
Yeah.
And now Tabasco is the all we have.
That's their if they don't have a full range. I've been to
Right.
places that offer like 3-4 kinds of hot
Oh,
sauce.
yeah.
And it's really
Yeah.
impressive. And they're so varied in their taste and flavor profiles. Even.
Yeah. And there's, a lot of local restaurants make their own hot sauce. A friend of mine, in fact,
Yeah.
this fellow lives in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
He loves hot sauce, and I should put you in touch with him. And you should do a show about hot sauce sometime. He would love to.
That is a really good idea.
Yeah.
I want to find the ones. Well, I don't know that I'd be able to try all of them, although for the show, maybe I will.
Yeah.
I will carry lots of
Just a little bit,
tissues.
you know.
Yeah, but that would be a good show. We'll try doing. I would love to meet him.
Yeah.
And we can do a show on hot sauces, on local hot sauces.
Yeah.
Good idea for a future episode. Note to self.
Yeah.
Future
Write
episode
in,
on hot
viewers,
sauce.
if you want the hot sauce show, write us a letter here
Yeah.
at CCTV,
Yeah.
Chow and Tell,
Yeah.
and your votes count.
Your votes count.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, you're also involved in some local city politics, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, I try and keep my distance, but this is where I live, so you kind of have to get involved on some level,
Yeah.
especially now with a kid on the way. I think that, this is the city where my kid is going to grow up.
Yeah.
And if
no,
I
I think
wanted
it's a
to-
great thing for you to. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not as involved. This is what I do for the city.
Yeah.
Everyone has their role,
Exactly, yeah. So, there are big things happening here in Cambridge. I'm sure all of you see as you go around town, all the construction all over the place. And I don't mean just the roads, even buildings here around Central Square,
Yeah.
huge buildings going up. Just down the street, we used to have a place called All Asia. It's gone. And there's a petition to get the city council to rule what gets approved, as opposed to the planning board. Now, the planning board is not an elected body.
Right.
They're appointed. They do not answer to us. The
So you're
city
basically
council
getting
answers
involved
us.
to move that whole system, shake it up, and get
Yeah.
some good stuff going. And I
Yeah.
believe you're going to be on CCTV next Wednesday
Next
talking about
Wednesday,
that.
yeah.
So we're running
Yeah.
short on time, so I just
Yeah.
want to throw that out there that
Mhm.
next Wednesday at
Next
what time?
Wednesday, Cambridge Ringen Latin, 5:30. There's a meeting in front of the ordinance committee.
Great.
Very important. Be there.
Be there or catch it on TV. You can catch this episode and others on www.kitchen-intuition.com. Methi Man, thank you so much for sharing your
My
wisdom
pleasure.
and pleasure on the show.